Y'all, can I tell you about these Tecovas boots? I don't know if y'all know this, but these boots are handmade, high quality, stylish, and comfortable right out of the box. I know we buy everything online these days, but boots are something you really should get fitted for. And it just so happens Tecovas is based right here in Austin. So come shop with me at the Tecova store on South Congress or the Domain. That's TECOVAS.com. Don't go gently, y'all. Today on CityCast Austin, our music community is magic, y'all. And among our exceptional local talent is a pianist with the voice of an angel, Julie Bouchard. I'm talking to Julie about what drew her to town, how she found her voice in Austin, and the role Love Island plays in her process. This is the third of 5 episodes sponsored by Tecovas about the music community in Austin called Austin in Stereo. And one more thing, stick around after our interview with Julie for a segment called A Mile in Their Boots. This series shines a light on Austinites who help make our local community thrive. And today, we'll be hearing from Ricky Brenes, the executive director in charge of Bevo, the University of Texas's mascot. A Mile in Their Boots, just like this episode, is brought to you by our exclusive launch sponsor, Tecovas. It's Wednesday, September 4th. I'm Nikki Devon, and this is what Austin's talking about. Hello, I'm here with Julie Bouchard, Austin singer, songwriter, wonderful powerhouse singer, if I do say so myself. Hello, Julie. Welcome. Thank you for being here.
Yeah. Hi, Nikki. Thanks so much for having me. Excited to be chatting with y'all today.
Me too. So off top, how would you describe yourself as a musician? Because I stalked you on your page and you described yourself as an Ed Sheeran meets Adele. And I need you to explain immediately.
Yeah, I could see why that would be a little bit confusing. I think that's the closest to what my genre and specialty kind of lies in. So Ed Sheeran and Adele are so known for such heartfelt lyrics, but with really catchy melodies. And they both lie in that pop world, but it's not quite pop because it's not your generic kind of bubblegum pop that has that, bass behind it, but it's definitely pop in the sense of it is popular music of what people do tend to listen to the most. So I relate to, the deeper lyrics, but I'm just a sucker for a catchy melody. And so all the songs that I write and even the covers I love to perform all kind of line up in that genre.
So we have had the pleasure of singing together, but for a little quick background on the two of us, Julie was on stage at one of my shows as a contestant for a game where I would sing half the lyrics and the contestants had to sing the other half. And Julie wiped the floor with everybody. But then her voice was so good that people thought we planted you. They were like, no fair. This is a plant. We don't appreciate it.
Yeah, I heard that. Yep.
Yeah. And so then, and I don't even remember, what was the song?
I just remember it was a lot of Broadway songs.
Oh, it was a lot of Broadway. Yes. So I'm so glad we ended up singing together in my show. And you kind of calling back to you saying you like catchy stuff. You killed PYT. You did a cover of PYT, killed it, and then turned around and did a funk cover of 9 Inch Nails Closer and killed that. So
yeah, no, that was super fun. I mean, I love PYT. I grew up listening to that music. It was a fun time. Yeah.
So your bio says you started off playing in college around Penn State. You're a Penn State grad. Is that right?
Yep. We are Penn State. Yeah, let's go.
Hey, okay. So how did you get here?
So in Penn State, I majored in history education. And so when I graduated, I'm a very logical person. Like my brain works in a very analytical way, which is quite contrary to being a musician where normally everything's emotional. But when I was looking for where I wanted to, start my career and start my adult life, I did a pros and cons chart of a bunch of cities that I could live on a teacher salary, that had a really nice music community that an acoustic artist could be a part of, and then that also had a very proud LGBTQ plus community, so that I could be, proud and safe wherever I lived. And it really boiled down to between Austin and Seattle. And the cost of living is what pushed Austin over the line.
Wow. And what year was this? When was this?
2016.
It kind of is a good explanation of what Austin it's like that's a good breakdown. I mean, the affordability could be questioned at this point, but in 2016, say that 2016 is now, and you're looking for a place to move after college again, and your criteria is the same. Would you still move to Austin?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Yeah. Austin's been great to me. It's taught me a lot of lessons, and it's held me up in ways, I didn't really even knew I would need looking back. But I've got no plans on moving anytime soon unless something, never say never, knock on wood, but I'm liking it here. Yep.
Now, when did you first start playing in Austin? What was your first venue?
Right. So I actually got really lucky as far as Austin music goes. I was at my second open mic ever in Austin and was super fortunate that the right people were there. Someone named Samantha Bridewell and her husband Ron were there. And I basically walked up to them and I was like, hey, I don't know if you guys are musicians or not, but I'm new to the city. I used to play around university in Pennsylvania. Like, I'd love to start gigging here. I just don't know where to start. And she looked at me and she said, you're either going to be not good enough and then I'm not going to want to tell you, or you're going to be too good and then I'm not going to want to tell you anyway. And I played my little Ed Sheeran thing, as per usual. And she was like, I love your sound. I'd love to connect you with someone named Tammy Miranda, who runs TMMP, a company that kind of helps with booking on 6th Street, and they do a bunch of other places in Austin. And that was my first gig, was from that. I played, I think it's called, or was called Bat Bar. I think they've closed down now. So I played Bat Bar on 6th Street as my first gig ever, and just happened, right people, right place, right time, and it just worked out really well.
Wow. I'm gonna backtrack. So how did you get started as a musician? So like, what were your first memories? What kind of music inspired you? Like, what'd you cut your teeth on?
So I grew up playing piano. I played piano since I was 5. My whole family is French, right? And so in Parisian culture, you have to learn one of what's called the elite instruments. So it was either violin or piano. And my parents put me and my sister in piano lessons since I was 5 and she was 6, I believe. Then we played classical piano like all through elementary, middle, and then in high school, I made a deal with them because I hated taking piano lessons because I play a lot by ear, and that's not how you're supposed to do piano lessons.
Nope.
And yeah, I had a teacher in New York who would slap my hand every time I did that, and I was like, it's right. Like, I don't know why you're mad at me. Like, I'm playing.
I don't know why it matters.
Yeah. So I started with piano, and then in high school, I picked up guitar because I thought it would make me look cool, because that's all that people care about in high school. Yeah. And then after guitar, picked up drum set, and then ukulele, and then bass, because that's where the ADHD kicked in, and it was just I pick up every instrument I can get my hands on. And then ukulele was that last one at summer camps.
That's a lot of instruments. What's your favorite to play?
I think my favorite to play is always going to be piano because there's just so much you can do on piano. But I think the best to go play out and about is 100% guitar. And it's also so much lighter than a piano.
Now, so let's talk about your inspirations as a kid.
I was a big boy band kid, still a big boy band person. I will rock out to One Direction or NSYNC any day. But I was like, I think I just remember listening to like NSYNC and Backstreet Boys and the Jonas Brothers. I was a big Jonas Brothers kid. And putting that on the piano was just kind of really cool to me. And then I could like show my friends and they thought it was cool, and like would find more songs for me to try to learn and figure out. So it was kind of like a puzzle to go through while listening to my favorite artists at the time was what that big pivot was of going from just straight up classical into, more popular genres.
What is your songwriting process like?
I mean, it's probably not the best process considering how it can be done. And this is actually a psychological thing. Your brain is most creative when it's exhausted. Because it lets down every barrier. Because when you're exhausted, you literally don't have the energy to self-doubt yourself, and so your creativity runs free. All the songs that I write are all when I can't fall asleep, and it's like a 1 a.m., 3 a.m. And an idea just smacks me in the face, and it's melody and lyrics at the same time, so it's not one before the next. And I kind of have a rule of thumb where if I don't finish the song in about 20 minutes, it's trash and it shouldn't be a song.
What?
To me, if it's not flowing and if it's not natural and I'm trying to force it, it's not as good as the other songs that I've written just for the way my brain works.
So, I'm getting and understanding the environment, but where do you get your inspiration from writing?
I think it definitely depends on what's happening in that moment. I also just happen to not really write about very personal things much. Most of my songs are written about reality TV. I am a big reality TV fiend, specifically Love Island. And the amount of drama and beautiful like love stories and breakups and the absolute roller coaster of emotions you go on when you watch these shows is all the drama inspiration I need for songwriting.
Give me an example. Like, who was the last person on Love Island you wrote about?
Here, I'll tell you about my favorite one that I've written about because it's actually my favorite song I've ever written.
I am shook right now, Julie.
Love Island. So it's available to stream everywhere. So y'all are welcome to go listen to it and see the inspiration directly. But it's my song called Why. And Why is about basically having unrequited love for someone when you know you're not supposed to like them anymore. Like the chorus, the words go, "Why does it hurt me when I love you? Why do I get weak in the knees when you walk in the room? Why does my heart skip a beat every time our eyes meet?" Like it's very unrequited love, right? Like we love. And it's because so on Love Island there was this guy, and this, so basically if you don't know how the show works, it is fantastic. The premise of the show is you want to be coupled up with someone, and when you're coupled up with someone you must share a bed with them as well. So on day one they walk in, they have to come up with a reason why they want to match up with this person. And so they'll be like, right, yeah, I'd like to couple up with this bird because she's proper fit, she's got great chat.
Yes.
And so this girl coupled up with this guy, and they had been together for 2 days, which in Love Island is like, why haven't you proposed yet? And she was head over heels for this guy. And of course, a hotter girl with a smaller bikini walked in, and he basically forgot who she was. And so the girl was just besides herself around the villa. Like she was doing all of her individual interviews being like, I can't believe he's done this to me. I thought we were going to be together for the long run. I know it was early days, but just, I can't believe. And so she was distraught, and he couldn't care less. Like he's walking around the villa with this new girl. And so that's what the song Why is about.
First of all, I love that you can draw inspiration from this because it sounds heartbreaking.
When I play it and I don't tell people it's about Love Island, I'll have people come up to me and be like, "Are you okay? Who hurt you? Like, what happened? Do you need to talk about it?" And then I'll be like, "No, no, 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 no. Like, I promise I'm okay. Like, this is what it's actually about." And then it's a fun conversation after that.
It just seems like it's very healthy. I feel like if I tried to like cut myself open and put all my stuff out into the world, it would just be a very dark time for me. It would just be very like. I want to talk about your experience as a queer musician in Austin, because especially since it was one of the reasons that you kind of like chose the city, or why we made it to the final two and then you chose us. What has your experience been?
Honestly, so far, so good generally. Within the city limits, absolutely has been really great. Austin is a really welcoming city in general, and I just love being involved with queer spaces and queer causes in general. So any way that I can support, I'm always down to help out, especially if it's through performing in music.
That's really good to hear. That's not the same for everybody. Even in Austin, sometimes I know that some of my musician friends, my queer musician friends, have run into, difficulties, but I'm glad that that has not been the case for you. So many musicians and performers in the city have day jobs because living here is so expensive and it proves to be difficult for a full-time musician. So are you a full-time musician?
No, my anxiety would never let me do that. I need backup plans, I need safety nets, and I love health insurance. So I could never be.
Same. You are talking, yes, you are preaching to the choir. I don't love many things as much as I love singing. However, one of the other things I love is health insurance. So you have a day job.
Right. If I'm sick, would love to go to the doctor. Right. I do have a day job, yes.
Even performance based, outside of your day job, are there other things that you do besides music?
Not necessarily that I do. I love theater. I grew up in New York and fortunate enough to literally I think it was a 30-minute train ride into Manhattan. And so I was definitely very fortunate to be exposed to Broadway and the arts at such a young age. It was really important to my parents that me and my sister had, that upbringing of having, the arts being important while also academics. And so I just loved going to theater. I love everything about Broadway. And me teaching theater and when I was teaching middle school was actually a complete coincidence because I didn't major in theater, but was able to surround myself with enough people who knew more about theater than I did that we were able to make a really cool class for those kids too.
So let's talk a little bit about that. So tell me a little bit about your day job. How do you balance your day job and performing?
So, my day job, I work for this amazing company. I do love my job, which I'm so fortunate to be in that minority of people who love their day job. I work for a company called Redgate Software. Redgate is a end-to-end developmental operations company. So basically, if you code or if you're deploying or if you're someone who's in charge of like monitoring estates or servers, you probably know Redgate rather well. And if you don't, reach out to me, could help you out. Um, but so that is my kind of my 8 to 5 music just kind of fits because most music is at night. I try not to overload myself just because I have this thing called the too much gene where I do too much.
You be doing too much, Julie.
I do be doing too much all the time. But I play, I think every weekend I'm playing at least once. I have a residency on Rainy Street with Idle Hands. With our mutual friend Julie Nolan was able to help me get that. And then I play basically every weekend at Culinary Dropout in the Domain.
Oh,
Love playing there. Such a nice spot. The servers are so great.
nice. Now, tell me, what is your favorite place to play?
One of my favorite places to play is with a group that I'm a part of called the ATX Songwriters Collective. And it's a group of just ridiculously talented songwriters who started a group to then bring notice to other really talented songwriters because they felt there wasn't a strong enough presence of like a listening room or somewhere where people can like truly appreciate the songwriting process and listen to artists. And so I was accepted into the group and basically at Alamo Draft House by Mueller, but the Mueller Alamo Draft
Yeah,
House, the
yeah.
Barrel of Fun, the
Love Barrel of Fun.
so there we hold showcases every month where you'll have it's basically like song swaps in a round. And before you play your song, the songwriter can kind of go into, the inspiration for the song, what it's about. And then it's just an environment where everyone is there to listen. Like not only to listen to the song itself, but to really hear out, what inspired it and like connect to the song in a deeper level. And it's a very special time. And it's everyone kind of walks away from that feeling a lot better and with new connections every time there's a showcase.
I love that. What has been your biggest challenge as a musician in Austin so far?
Challenge. See, this is where I'm going to come off sounding horrible. Like right time, right place, and luck of the draw is when it comes to music. And knock on wood, I have been very fortunate in that case. And I do believe, luck is 50% the effort that took you to get that luck. And then the other 50% is the actual luck of the timing. Because if you don't have the skill to show out when that lucky moment arises, then that moment should never have come anyway. So I have never really tried to get a gig, which is wild to say. I get basically every gig I've ever gotten by someone asking me, will you play here? From watching me play somewhere else.
I mean, listen, that's been same for me. Like a lot of my opportunities have been like, hey, my friend's cousin told me you sing. Do you sing? So same. I don't think it makes you a horrible person. Same. Same.
Yeah, I love playing weddings. That's like my
Oh
bread
my
and butter.
God.
Oh, the romantic, ooh, yeah. And that's like those are my favorite songs, like covers to play. It's so great. And that's how I play weddings. I'll be playing at, Culinary or Idle Hands or somewhere else. And a couple is there who just got engaged and they come up and they're like, could you, would you please? And I'm like, oh my gosh, yes.
Talk about I don't know if I necessarily want to get married, but I love a wedding. I love a wedding. It's when people are at their absolute best and when they trust you to be a part of it in any way. Sign me up.
Yeah, maybe one day. My butt is single as a Pringle right now. So
You heard it here. You heard it here. Single as a Pringle. So, what advice would you give other musicians just starting out in Austin? What advice would you give them?
um honestly, get involved in open mics. Go to open mics. Every open mic that you can go to, even if you're not going to perform, go. Bring something to do. That's where I found my community from talking to other musicians. That's where everybody basically finds their community, and you can find people who have similar genres of you, people who might want to co-write. It's scary. I fully understand. And I was terrified because you're showing up somewhere you've never been before to see people you've never met before. I really hope people who want to do full-time music can take advantage of, I don't know if you know about
Oh,
Ham,
yeah.
music service. Yeah, take advantage of Ham so that you can do music full time and, have healthcare access.
Right. Right.
To share something if you're going to perform, quite personal, like there's a bit of you. I really believe, you leave a part of you on stage every time you perform if you're doing it the way you want to be doing it. Even if you suck, you forget every word in the English language or whatever language you're singing in. um, that community is gonna like laugh with you. They'll never laugh at you because they've all been the new musician. They've all been the first time performer. And so it's just such a supportive musical city that I personally have not seen anywhere else.
I mean, I will second that. It's not you just don't see it everywhere. That kind of community, there's no fighting and jealousy and envy and like gatekeeping of gigs. And so now, real quick, you mentioned that you taught middle schoolers.
Yes, man.
So that's making me think about the future. How are you feeling about the future of music in Austin?
I think the future of music in Austin specifically is solid as long because the community holds it up. I don't think the music community is going to let it go anywhere. But yeah, just having it be more realistic career in general for people if they do want to do music in Austin full time and not feel like they have to hold down a 9 to 5 as well. I think could be a really cool future for Austin.
Is there anything else that you would like our listeners to know about what it's like being a musician here in Austin that we haven't covered?
That we haven't covered. I just think as long as the biggest part is getting out there and putting yourself out there, because as much in a perfect world, we'd like to believe someone will knock on our door and say, hey, here's everything you've ever wanted. Ta-da. Unfortunately, we're not living in a rom-com. And so you really do just have to take that scary step and put yourself out there, but just know everyone has taken that step. before you. So you're not going to be alone in the process at all, but you do have to be the one to start it.
I love that. Well, I look forward to hearing your Love Island music on the 12th of September at our Austin Stereo series. Thank you for having such a good time with me. This was awesome. Okay, bye, Julie.
Bye.
Next up, let's walk a mile in Ricky Brennis's boots, brought to you by our launch sponsor, Tecovas. I'm here with Ricky Brennis, the executive director of the Silver Spurs Alumni Association. Hi, Ricky.
Hello.
Okay, so right off the bat, let's tell everybody who you are.
I'm the executive director of the Silver Spurs Alumni Association. I'm in charge of Bevo, the live mascot at the University of Texas. My father raised me to be a Longhorn fan, and both my parents are from Arkansas.
Oh, wow.
For those that may not know,
yeah,
Arkansas people hate the Texas Longhorns.
Yeah.
And so my father was about the only person I ever have met from Arkansas that was not a Razorback fan. I pretty much decided that I wanted to go to UT when I was 5. I loved animals. I had pets growing up. I wanted to play when you're 5 that, maybe I could play quarterback. And when the defense is on the field, I'll go over there and hold Bevo. The playing part didn't really pan out. It was never going to be an option for me. The next best thing was taking care of Bevo. He's the living symbol for the university. And so, it's just a really special thing. And it's something that I've always taken, seriously. I grew up in Plano, Texas, graduated from Plano Senior High and made my way down to the University of Texas. And I became a student Bevo handler my senior year, which was around 2000. And so I've just been involved with Bevo ever since.
Nice. What exactly is your job?
Well, just about all things Bevo. So anywhere from the training of the students to the logistics to the marketing. Bevo now raises money for the Neighborhood Longhorns program. The program is for kids in economically disadvantaged areas, grades 2 through 8, to show them that college is an achievable goal. Typically, I'd say we on average or close to probably provide about $200,000 a year to that program.
Wow. So let's walk a mile in your boots. On an average home game day, what time does your day start?
Yeah, I would say on an average home game, I probably spend about 16 hours on the game. Our first game, which is a 2:30 p.m. kickoff. And I reckon I'll probably leave the house around 5:30 in the morning, head out to where Bevo is and start getting things ready and make sure he's fed and our truck and trailer are ready. And that, we have ice in our coolers and drinks in our coolers and the trucks and trailers are clean. He's been walked. And then about approximately 3 hours, we probably leave the ranch about 4 hours out from kickoff. We have a police escort to Darrell K. Royal. And around 3 hours out from kickoff, we do the Bevo Boulevard parade, where we walk Bevo through the fans on Bevo Boulevard, and we go into the stadium and kind of start getting our stuff ready for the game 3 hours out. And then things kind of start moving a lot quicker once we're in the stadium. And, I guess they've kind of changed the rules a little bit, but it used to be that we couldn't really seem to play a Texas football game in less than 4 hours. And then we're probably on the field another hour or so after the game, waiting for the crowd to clear out before we get him in the truck and the trailer. And then he's probably back home around 2 hours after the game. And then you kind of have to clean everything up and put stuff away, spend, another hour or so doing that and then drive back another hour.
That is a very full day.
Yeah.
Why does your work matter to you?
Well, it's obviously something that's very personal. And, the great thing about college athletics is that it's so personal to people and there's so much passion. It's remarkable how much he means to people. I always am sure and quick to remind our students that what you're doing is important and people remember their experience with Bevos. You need to make sure that they walk away having a good experience.
Why does your work matter to Austin?
There are kids in college and have graduated college that probably wouldn't have if it weren't for Bevo. He's really providing opportunity to kids that may not have those opportunities by getting funding that program.
So where do you relax or have fun?
My wife, Erica Brennis, is a news anchor for KXAN, and then I have two pretty little girls. I would bet if the 52 Saturdays in a year, I'm probably with Bevo on 40 of them at least. But really, what I do for fun is dedicated to my kids for sure.
Okay, that is awesome. Ricky, thank you so much for being here. Check out the Neighborhood Longhorns program for volunteer opportunities to learn more, and we will have that link for you in our show notes as well, so you are just a click away. Thanks for listening. Thanks again to Tecovas for sponsoring this interview, and Ricky, we will talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in to our third episode of Austin in Stereo, brought to you by our launch partner, Tecovas. Tecovas knows more than handmade boots and fine Western wear. They've also got an ear for great music. From legends of the past to rising stars on the scene, we all love supporting musicians and music fans right here in our hometown of Austin. You can hear Julie Bouchard's amazing voice at our showcase on September 12th from 5 to 8 p.m. at the Tecovas store on South Congress. I hope I see y'all there. And make sure, if you're headed for a good time on the stage or in the crowd, you go in good boots from Tecovas. That's all for today here on CityCast Austin. You can find links to Julie and Ricky's social media in our show notes. If you enjoyed the show, why not tell a friend, rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our Hey Austin newsletter. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Bye, y'all.